Alternative Digitalk. Real issues, real talk.
Hello beautiful people, you're welcome to the Snap Talk with your girl Teddy Tenjo every Saturday right from 6 to 7.
Naku zino twajjirwa flat tummy. Tukyayambalako ku ngoye obutukwata.
Wajana ku body shaming. Speak up. Gendo ba confronting gay. Obagambe ekyo kyemukola si kirungi.
Towerabira nti tuli wano ku the Alternative Digitalk mukwano gwange gwali topic kiri wandyagadde twogereko. Is it about family?
Nga tize tata wange amanyira nkola n'obuvunanyizibwa nyina bungi. Era agezaako n'anyamba yambako yanda.
Naye kumukubira kumubuuzaako. Noga mama we bali kunzaala.
Is it outside family? Is it society? Oh, could it be relationships?
Come and visit, call me. Simanyanga I miss you bichi. Especially embeera y'obudde sinungi.
Naye n'omuntu akwagalira mu season yaba takwagala ze nkubuulira.
Just be commenting nga topic yona gyandyagadde twogereko tujja kwa tujogera kwano ku the Alternative Digitalk ku share enganzi the Snap Talk.
Fellow citizens, following the sequence of events, Uganda seems to be at political crossroads.
I'm not a servant of anybody.
Madam, I know the law.
As such, Alternative Digital brings you the Interface Show with retired Colonel Dr. Kiza Besuje.
Let's keep on the same page on Alternative Digitalk,
As he gives you the alternatives on the transition question, rule of law, human rights and freedom, youth inclusion in governance, economic stagnation, as he confirms.
I'll be always here Saturday from 10 a.m. in the morning. Be there.
Don't miss the live discussion on the Alternative Uganda, Digitalk TV Facebook pages, and the Alternative Uganda YouTube channel.
The Alternative Digitalk. Real issues, real talk.
Amacha amalungi gwe munnange akedde naffe olunaku olwaleero olunaku lwakuna ennaku z'omwezi tuwala 12 tuli mwezi ogwa Gatonnya omwaka 2023. Nze omumbejja luwedde Didian era nga olaba program The Mighty Drive akanyomero ke tulimu ke Mighty Global News Updates. Munnange ebimu ku ebyo ebiba byakoze amawulire tubiyitaayitamuko wano katono nnyo gwe ate asobodde kubanga ogalaba nosobola okubanga ate omanya ensonga nga bwe zatambudde wano mu ggwanga erya Uganda. Naye njagala okutegeeza anti munnange tuli butereevu ku page yaffe eya The Alternative Uganda ku Facebook awamu ne Digitalk TV egy'emikutu kosobola okubanga ate otufunira live that is The Alternative Uganda and Digitalk TV ku Facebook gy'emikutu. Munnange kosobola okubanga otufunira live ku YouTube kwe tuli The Alternative Uganda. So genda subscribing ku YouTube channel yaffe osobola okubanga omaya programs ate enyovu zetulina nga sinaba kuyitayitako mu ebyo bimu ku bikoze amawulire ngenda kuba mbiyitamu lukwakwayo olw'ensonga nti akadde akatambuddeko dda ate nga saagala kubanga mbalwisaayo kubanga olunaku olwaleero tulina munnamateeka Council Eron Kiza bwe tugenda okubeera okuba naye olunaku olwaleero ku show eno eya Mighty Drive era nga mukulu Rogers tuli ahabwe yagenda kubanga amukutuusaako butereevu agenda kuba ayogera ku nsonga ez'etteeka lino erikwata ku bantu abakozesa emikutu gimugatta bantu n'ebirala bingi nnyo by'otasaanidde kubeera nga osubwa. Naye nga sinaba kugendayo eyo, munnange katono nnyo njagalizeeko omukyala Elise Yugi amazaalibwa. Elise Yugi, happy birthday from the Alternative Digitalk. Tukwagaliza ate amazaalibwa amalungi. Happy birthday Elise Yugi. Munna emyaka gy'otuuseeko katusabe Omukama Katonda ayongere okukulaakulanya era akozese ebintu ebyenjawulo bingi nnyo n'okweyongerayo n'emyaka emirala ate osobole okuba nga ogiselebratinga bulungi. But happy birthday Elise Yugi. Munnaye tukwagaliza amazaalibwa amalungi, tukwagala nnyo era weebale nnyo okuba nga ate munnaye naawe otugobereranga amazaalibwa amalungi. Munnange Mukama ayongere ate okuba nga akulaakulanya. Weewaawo eyo ngenda kubanga nvaayo ate mu mazaalibwa yaga Elise Yugi mbiteyitekoko mu ebyo ebyakoze amawulire mu ggwanga lino erya Uganda. Ngenda kuba ntandika etteeka lino erikwata ku bantu abakozesa emikutu gimugatta bantu. Waliwo ate akawaayiro munnange kkooti oba kkooti etaputa ssemateeka keyasazizaamu era nga akawaayiro kano keeka akawaayiro namba 25 mu tteeka lino eryogera ku bantu abakozesa emikutu gimugatta bantu eryasooka okuyisibwa mu mwaka ogwa 2011. Quorum y'abalamuzi 5 munnange be baatudde ne bawa ensala yaabwe ku nsonga eno era nga etteeka lino munnange lyakomezebwawoko mu Parliament omwaka oguwedde ogwa 2022 okubaako ennongoosereza ze bakolamu era nga gye byaggweera mu mukulembeze w'eggwanga ataddeko omukono era nga abamu ku bantu omuli ne bannamawulire aba Alternative Digitalk bagenda mu kkooti okubanga beekubira enduulu mu kkooti etaputa ssemateeka okubanga beekubira enduulu still ku nsonga eno yennyini oba ku tteeka lino lyennyini. Munnange emu ku nsonga ate abalamuzi bano gye bawadde okusazaamu akawaayiro namba 25 mu tteeka lino erya Computer Misuse Act. Munnange kigambibwa nti akawaayiro kano tekoogera bulungi musango omuntu gw'abeerazizza ate era kakugira abantu okweyagalira mu freedom of speech and expression nga munnange eddembe lino bwe libaweebwa ssemateeka ow'olukumu1995. Kakati omubaka Muhammad Nsereko munnange yavuddeyo n'abaako byayogera ku nsonga eno oluvannyuma lwa kkooti okubanga yasazizaamu akawaayiro kano. Ye yategeezezza nti kkooti bwebanga erina kyemaze okubanga esalawo bo nga bo tebalina kye basobola kubanga bakola, naye n'ategeeza nti kino kigenda kuwa ebbeetu abantu okubanga bavoola bannaabwe. Kigenda kuba kakati kyere abantu bagenda kuba bakikola kyere nga tewaliiko kwetiririra yadde n'akamu. Bw'atyo omubaka Muhammad Nsereko munnange ye bwe yategeezezza bwe yabadde abuuzibwa ku nsonga eno. Kinajjukirwa nti ng'ennaku z'omwezi 10 omwezi guno gwe tulimu gwennyini ogwa Gatonnya kkooti etaputa ssemateeka munnange bwe yavaayo okubanga ewa ensala yaayo ku nsonga ate eno yennyini ey'akawaayiro kano aka 25 mu tteeka erya Computer Misuse. Munnange ago nno ge mawulire gengenda okubanga genkuwadde ku nsonga eyo. Omubaka Muhammad Nsereko yategeezezza nti munnange kino kkooti kye yasazeewo bo tebasobola kubanga ate babaako ensonga yonna gye bakyogerako, wabula kigenda kuwa ebbeetu abantu ab'enjawulo okubanga boogerera bannaabwe ebitali birungi, wabula ate n'okwongera okuvoola ate n'okuvuma abalala. So munnange ye bw'atyo bwe yategeezezza. Ngenda kuba nga neeyongerayoko ndaba akadde kantwala kantindiggwa ate ng'omugenyi waffe yamaze dda okuba ng'atuuka. Omubaka wa Makindye West Alan Sewanyana kigambibwa nti munnange embeera ye y'ebyobulamu si nnungi era ng'ono yaggiddwa mu kkomera ery'ekigo n'atwalibwa ku Luzira Prisons Hospital kubanga ate munnange afuna obujjanjabi oba nga bamwekebejja okumanya ki ekituufu ekimuluma. Munnamateeka we era ng'ono Lord Mayor wa Kampala Ssaalongo Erias Lukwago y'omu ku bagenza okuba nga bamulambulako mu ddwaliro gye yabadde era nga yategeezezza nti embeera ye si nnungi olw'ensonga nti n'okwogera munnange tasobola kwogera kakubeera okutambula era nga yazze bamukwatiridde. Wabula ate omwogezi w'amakomera omukulu Frank Baine yategeezezza nti embeera ye teyeeraliikiriza nnyo era nga munnange yaggiddwa ekigo okutwalibwa ku Luzira Prisons okubanga bamwekebejja okulaba ekituufu ate ekimuluma naye nga kigambibwa nti ulcers munnange zimuluma naye nga ye munnamateeka we Ssaalongo Erias Lukwago yategeezezza nti client we oba Honorable Alan Sewanyana yeetaaga okuba nga atwalibwa mu ddwaliro eddene ewali ebyuma ebisobola okukebera oba okwekebejja omuntu mu ebitundu bye eby'omunda era nga yagambye nti ne bagenda kwongerayoko ensonga eno okulaba nga wabaawo ekikolebwa Honorable Sewanyana asobole okuba nga afuna obujjanjabi. Kigambibwa nti ekirwadde kino kyamulumba wiiki ewedde olwokutaano naye nga ono yamaze n'aleetebwa mu ddwaliro lya Luzira Prisons Hospital kubanga ate afuna yeekebejjebwa era nga ebinaavaayo bijja kuba nga ate bitegeezebwa famire ye awamu ne bannamateeka be. Ngenda kuba nga neeyongerayokko katono nnyo. Minisita omubeezi ow'amayumba mukyala Pacis Namuganza munnange agenda kuba nga addamu okulabikako eri akakiiko kateekebwawo kubanga kanoonyereza ku nsonga ze. Kinajjukirwa nti munnange minisita ono waliwo motion eyaleetebwa mu Parliament okubanga bamuggyamu obwesige era nga munnange kino kyakulemberwamu omubaka wa Agago North Honorable Amos Okot era nga waliwo n'abakisekendinga. Kakati no munnange akakiiko kano kateekebwawo era nga kaliko abantu 7 munnange okubanga bongera ate okwekebejja oba okutunula mu nsonga za Honorable Pacis Namuganza era nga akakiiko kano okuteekebwawo bagenda maaso n'okunoonyereza munnange ku nsonga zino zonna ezaayogerwa ku mubaka oba ku minisita Pacis Namuganza ku bigambibwa nti yakozesa bubi yafeesi ye n'ebirala ate bingi nnyo era nga akakiiko kano kakulirwa omubaka wa Mbarara City South Honorable Mwine Mpaka era nga bategeezezza nti kagenda kubanga katandika olunaku olwaleero era nga abamu ku bayitiddwa munnange kwe kuli omubaka wa Agago North Honorable Amos Okot okwongera ate okuttanya ku nsonga nga bwe yazireeta mu lukiiko lw'eggwanga olukulu awamu n'aba ate abasekendinga ensonga eno ey'okuggyamu minisita omubeezi ow'amayumba Pacis Namuganza obwesige. Ago nno munnange ge mawulire agava esayidi eyo. Driver owa YY coaches ono nno nga yali avuga bus namba UAY 066V era ng'eno yali eva Kampala ng'egenda Lira naye ng'ate ono yakwatibwa akatambi akasaasaanira ku mikutu gye mugatta bantu ng'avuga ate ng'eno bw'akozesa essimu ye okubaako obubaka obw'enjawulo. Kigambibwa nti ono nno yamaze dda okuba nga agombebwamu obwala era nga kaakati atemeza amabega wa mitayimbwa. Eyo mukulu ono akavidiyo kasaasaanira ku mikutu gye mugatta bantu nga agenda maaso n'okuba nga avuga abasaabaze bepo munnange n'okukebera obubaka obwali ku ssimu ye. Kakati Uganda Police munnange bo bavuddeyo ne bategeeza nti omukulu ono munnange yamaze dda okubanga akwatibwa era nga kakati atemeza mabega wa mitayimbwa. Munnaye obubenje bungi nnyo obubaddewo ennaku ezo era nga abagoba b'ebidduka munnaye baasabibwa okubanga babeera abeegendereza ennyo ku makubo okusobola okuba nti baprotectinga obulamu bw'abantu ate be bavuga. Naye ate ono ekikolwa kye yakoze munnange yamaze dda okuba nga agombebwamu obwala era nga kakati atemeza mabega wa mitayimbwa. Kakati omwogezi wa poliisi eya Kampala n'emiriraano omukulu Patrick Onyango yavuddeyo n'atangaza still ku nsonga y'omwami munnange eyeekumako omuliro ng'ate bwagezaako okubanga ayingira mu poliisi mu bitundu eby'emasanafu. Munnange ono nno yavuddeyo n'ategeeza nti omwami ono yakola ekikolwa kino eky'okubanga yeekumako omuliro. Amannya ge ye Kintu Charles okusinziira ku National ID gye bamusanga nayo era nga bakyagenda mu maaso n'okunoonyereza ku nsonga eno. Omwami ono yagenda ku poliisi ey'emasanafu wabweru waayo ng'alinako byakutte. Era kigambibwa nti ono bwe yabuuzibwa ki kye yali ayagala munnange n'akwata bye yali akutte n'abyeyiira n'akoleeza akabiriiti munnange ne yeekumako omuliro. Era nga kigambibwa nti yali agezaako okuyingira mu poliisi eno, owa poliisi eyalimu n'amukuba essasi era ng'ono mu kutwalibwa mu ddwaliro munnange we yasiza omukka ate ogw'enkomerero. Ago nno ge mawulire agava eruuyi eyo. Njagala kubanga ate mpitayitamu katono nnyo ku nsonga eno ndowooza egenda okubanga ewunzika updates zaffe ez'olwaleero. Munnange ba street vendors oba ate abatundira ku makubo munnange nabo baagala kubanga bavaayo okudda ate we baali bakolera oba okudda ku makubo nga bagamba nti ekitongole ki KCCA kiremeddwa okubanga kibafunira awatuufu we bayinza okubanga bakolera ate nga nabo munnange balina ensonga ezibalumanga abantu oba ate balina obuvunaanyizibwa obwetaaga ensimbi. Bano nno munnange baali bagobebwa ku nguudo gye buvuddeko naye nga bo bavudde ne bagamba nti bagala kudda ku nguudo olw'ensonga nti tebannaba kufuna kifo kituufu we bakolera ate nga balina obuvunaanyizibwa bwe balina okubanga batuukiriza era nga beetaaga ne ssente. Kakati ku nsonga endala munnange abakolera mu katale ka St. Bali ku Ddembe oba Owino munnange baagala gavumenti ebeeko etteeka lyeteekawo eribakkiriza okubanga beerondera abakulembeze baabwe mu katale kano okusobola okuba nti nabo bakolaganira wamu ne gavumenti okukola ku nsonga zaabwe ezibaluma. Kinajjukirwa nti gavumenti yasalawo okweddiza obutale bwonna munnange okuba nti be babuddukanya naye nga bo abakolera mu katale aka St. Bali ku Ddembe baagala ate gavumenti munnange bayambe bateerewo etteeka erisobola okubanga libakkiriza okwerondera abakulembeze baabwe munnaye abasobola okubanga bakolera wamu ne gavumenti ku nsonga zaabwe ezibaluma. Ku ddakiika ziri 23 ze zaakayita ku ssaawa 2 ez'amakya ag'olunaku luno olwaleero. Program The Mighty Drive tugenda maaso n'okubanga olaba tugenda kuba tuwumulamu katono nnyo. Bwe tukomawo munnange mugenyi waffe agenda kubanga mwali mu studios era ng'ono e Council Eron okwongera ate okuttaanya ku nsonga zino eza Computer Misuse Act oba eteeka ate erikwata ku bantu abakozesa emikutu gye mugatta bantu n'ebirala ate ebigwa mu kkoweero. So ate omusubwa tugenda beerawo wano okutuukira ddala ssaawa 4 ez'akalasamayanzi ate asobole okubanga onnyonnyoka etteeka lino biki ebirikwatako biki bye weesaanidde okubanga ate omanya because tuwuliddeko abantu bangi nnyo nga beemulugunya anti etteeka lino litunyigiriza naye nga ne we limunyigiriza naye kennyini tamanyiwa bulungi. So munnamateeka Eron agenda kubanga ayongera okuttaanya ku nsonga zino zennyini. Katuwumulemu katono nnyo tukomawo The Mighty Drive egenda mu maaso.
The Alternative Digitalk. Real issues, real talk.
Fellow citizens, following the sequence of events, Uganda seems to be at political crossroads.
I'm not a servant of anybody.
Madam, I know the law.
As such, Alternative Digital brings you the Interface Show with retired Colonel Dr. Kiza Besuje.
Let's keep on the same page on Alternative Digitalk.
As he gives you the alternatives on the transition question, rule of law, human rights and freedom, youth inclusion in governance, economic stagnation, as he confirms.
I'll be always here Saturday from 10 a.m. in the morning. Be there.
Don't miss the live discussion on the Alternative Uganda, Digitalk TV Facebook pages, and the Alternative Uganda YouTube channel.
Are you craving for that special meal that will entice your taste buds and leave you with lasting thrilling memories? Look no further. Spice Island Bulenga has got your answer. Natural, fresh and delicious juice, the best meals. Don't miss our daily specials from Monday to Sunday. Pizza Wednesday, Saturday Pizza Bonanza, you buy one and take two. Come dine with us and feel the experience. We are located at Prime Shopping Center in Bulenga, Mitiana Road. For inquiries, call us on 0704111720. Spice Island, we treat your cravings.
The Alternative Digitalk. Real issues, real talk.
Tusooka okwetonda ate olw'ebyo ebituuseewo manyi ebyuma birina engeri gye byekwatakwatamu wano nawali naye we tulina okuba nga tukuweereza the mighty drive okuva ssaawa 2 okutuuka ate ku ssaawa 4 ez'okumakya. Nkwaniriza nnyo nze omumbeja luwedde Lilian era nga mu studios munnaye twamaze dda okuba nga twegattibwako omugenyi waffe olunaku olwaleero munnamateeka Eron Kiza yamaze dda okuba nga atwegattako naye nga sirinzeka ndi ne munnange Rogers tuli ahabo bwe tugenda okuba nga tukola programu eno ate okutuukira ddala ku ssaawa 4 ez'okumakya olw'ensonga nti tugenda kwogera ensonga z'amateeka. Kakati kkooti yaffe olwaleero egamba good people do not need laws to tell them to act responsibly while bad people will find a way around the laws. Kkooti egamba good people do not need laws to tell them to act responsibly while bad people will find a way around the laws. Munnaye abantu abalungi tebeetaaga tteeka kubagamba ate kukola kiki beetaaga kubanga bakola. Munnange byebimu ku ebyo kkooti yaffe y'olunaku olwaleero byegamba. Tuli butereevu ku peegi yaffe eya The Alternative Uganda awamu ne Digitalk TV ku Facebook kwosobola okuba nga otufunira awamu ne YouTube channel yaffe The Alternative Uganda ku Twitter nayo kwetuli nnyo at The Alternative Uganda. So gendayo ku mikutu egyo gyonna osobole okuba nga munnange otegeera biki bye tukola ne programs ez'enjawulo ze tulina. Kansooke ntwala omukisa guno okulamusa ku munnange bwe tugenda okukola programu eno ate amalirize atwanjulire omugenyi waffe ow'olunaku olwaleero. Rogers wasuze otya ssebo? Tugenda kuloogera whether kuruko kuruko we shall speak the Luganda but good morning.
That's not fair. We can do both at least. Ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning. My name is Roger Sturiawe, and it's a privilege today to be here with Lydian Luwede and Counsel Eron. He's a pronounced human rights lawyer, and above all, an environmentalist. I respect people who understand that this world is one and would not have a plan B, and for that reason, we must do as much as possible to preserve it. So he's one of those people I actually look up to. One, in the practice of law. Two, in practice of the rights of people. Three, in the environmental protection and advocacy. So you can understand how I feel today. But today is the 12th of January. You want to wish you a new year again. I think if we have crossed over, it is also something to be glad for. But I'm also going to invite the gentleman who is with us today to say hello to you, and then we can begin right away. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
You may say hello to our people.
Nessanyu lingi okubeera wano. Tujja kwogera ku mateeka ate ku teeka erifuga kalemagezi lye baatuma erya Computer Misuse Act 2011. Waliwo akawaayiro aka 25 kkooti ke yamenyeko ke kasinze okundeeta kwogerako naye n'ebirala tugenda kubyogerako.
Okay, tusandise okulaba Counsel.
Nze asinze.
Okay, nga tetunaba kutandika kwogera ku kawaayiro kano ke baasazeemu. Njagala omulabi waffe asobole okutegeera mu tteeka lino biki ebituufu ebirimu, because tulina abantu abamu abagamba etteeka litukosa the Computer Misuse Act etukosa ya 2011 ne amendments ze bakoze in 2022, but they don't know ebituufu ebiririmu. So the basics.
Parliament yabaga etteeka nteyagala kuregulatinga enjere gye tukolesa za kalimagezi zaffe, nga kalimagezi ng'essimu, nga radios, nga computers, byonna ebisinziira ku kalimagezi okukozesa. So eyo Computer Misuse Act ya 2011 naye ne bateekamu n'emisango nga bw'oba okoze kino oba okoze ensobi, bw'oba okoze kino oba okoze ensobi. So erya 2011 lyalina obuwaayiro bubiri nga bwe businga okutawaanya abantu ba bulijjo n'abantu abafuganya gavumenti n'abantu abawandiika ebitabo. Erimu nti cyber stalking n'erala offensive communication. Offensive communication eyo bagigyemu, naye cyber stalking ya 24 ekyalimu. Ate n'omwaka oguwedde Nsereko ya introducing etteeka mu Parliament nga lyongeramu omunnyo ku etteeka erya 2011 nga olwedde nga liri libi nga balikolesa okuharasinga abantu ba bulijjo, naye ne bongeramu omunnyo ne bagamba tekimala kino tukatwongere okusiba ennatti. So ne bakwata ke bayise Computer Misuse Amendment Act 2020. Eyo yo almost buli kawaayiro kabi mulimu akagamba nti olina okusaba olukusa nga tona sharinga some information, waliwo bye bayita social media abuse. Ebintu bingi nnyo ena sections nga 4 nazo zonna nga mbi nga naye nga ekizibu kyazo kyekimu ekiri mu section 25 nga ziri too wide ate nga zikuntana oba ziconflictinga ne freedom of expression.
Okay, so byebyo omunnayuganda byetaaga okuba nga ategeera.
Omunnayuganda alina okumanya nti alina okwegendereza enjere gyakolesa social media, enjere gyakola email zasindika, kubanga government emutunuulidde bweti emulinze nti akolemu ensobi emukwate. Kale mu Uganda oyinza okukola ensobi ne batakukwata, naye bw'oba nga oli muntu afuganya nga gavumenti oba gavumenti ekulinamu interest eba efunye weesinziira okukwata. So ebyo bye balina okumanya nti social media gavumenti egitunuulira nnyo, eraba kiki ky'otadde mu comment kigy'owadde, eraba kifaananyi ki ky'osindise ku WhatsApp, eraba ebintu ng'ebyo gavumenti ebyabikinze mu interest. Naye omuntu owa bulijjo talina okufaayo nnyo ku kitya bw'oba oyogera ku ku bijanjaalo gavumenti tekulinako obuzibu. No, bw'okozesa kompyuta kwogera ku bijanjaalo oba omukubye gadeni yo ekifaananyi oba ku miti naye gezako oyogere ku muhozi project n'otagiwaana
bw'oyogera ku bintu ebiruma abantu nga bakwata
si kuluma abantu ng'ebiruma family efuga Uganda, first family.
Kati olina kusirika busirisi obireke nti bw'abanga minisita alina sente ze yakumpanyiza
minisita abye sente oyogerako naye ekintu ekikwata ku okufuga kwa gavumenti kale ekintu ekikwata ku magye n'ekintu ekikwata ku first family ebyo birina okugenda ng'obiyitako ku bbali oyagala kubeera nga toli mukomera.
But now, Council, let me ask. Generally, we have the people who have opinions, who have perspectives, who believe in things, who will say this and that according to their opinions. But there's also the state that has the mandate to protect the people, their privacy, and how they share information, especially if it is about the collective of society, and it affects some particular section of community. Is it not the right of the government to try to regulate how this kind of information is shared?
Regulation is different from prohibition, but the government motive clearly is to prohibit people from sharing some sorts of information, and that is a problem because communication shouldn't be prohibited. The Constitution is very clear on freedom of expression, and it's also very clear on the on the limits of expression and the standards. Unless people are sharing child pornography or they are inciting violence or hatred or terrorism, they should.
Those are the UN standards?
Yes. The standards that have been endorsed by UN and really common sense. Then people should be able to share information. Then people will judge for themselves what they want to do with the information. You shouldn't be telling people what to tell others as a government.
But as society grows, Council, we know that we evolve, and then practices have to change over time. So if we say that we are going to stick to one side and say that, look, we are going to let people evolve as much as necessary, we will leave the law restricted to what it has been the practice, and when the practices might change over time, isn't that problematic in itself?
Well, change is inevitable, but change should expand the horizons of freedom rather than constrain them. Yeah, we should use development, we should use progress, change to enlarge the playing field for the human soul, the human spirit, the human mind, and not to try to clamp that down people. Technology didn't come to inhibit us. It came to enable our creativity. It came to enable us to do advocacy better, and that's good for development. But when you use technology to repress people, to tongue-tie them, then even you won't see development, and also there is no peace that can emanate from that kind of situation.
And so in this case, if the government, which is mandated with the responsibility to, regulate how people do things, if for example someone misuses that kind of those kind of platforms and the technology as it has evolved, as it changes, should
there are remedies. There are remedies for people who defame. In the civil courts, the problem is trying to criminalize it. So it doesn't mean that because you have not committed a crime, there is nothing wrong you have done illegally.
So if someone, that is what most people need to understand.
If someone violates my privacy, I can sue them and they pay me damages. The court can stop them from further violating my privacy, my dignity, and so on and so forth. So we are not without options on how to deal with errant speakers, people who shred our dignity, who shred our reputations, and who injure our privacy. No, the law protects us from that. The law protects our privacy. What the law doesn't want is for you to criminalize communication in a sweeping manner, or in a way that conflicts with freedom of expression. There is a balancing act, and we must freely express ourselves without injuring the privacy of others, without destroying property of others, without violating other people's rights. When people's rights are violated, when we violate people's rights, then the law will come in to restrain us.
So that means...
But it's not the offensive communication. Government should not use the computer laws to oppress people beyond what is necessary in democratic society, beyond what is necessary to protect privacy, beyond what is necessary to protect property and dignity. So government should not do an overkill, shouldn't overreact. It should act sanely, like a sober administrator, rather than behaving like a dictator, a colonialist.
Nekakati Council, we have people who share information nga tebagikakasa. Oli alina kyalabye somewhere najja nakiteeka ku platform ye, social media platform, just because that person wants likes and comments and views, so that afunamu akasente. Naye nga this information gyali mu kuteeka ku mukutu guno tagiinaako mutwe na magulu, and it's affecting some other person. So don't you think nti neteeka at least liyambako okuleeta discipline mu bantu?
Teriyamba ekyo. Etteeka lino just balikozesa okuoppressinga bannaUganda batakanya ne government. Naye ekyo kyoyogedde nti omuntu asharinze information nga tagiinawo bukakamu, afunye likes, mugane likes. Naye bw'aba akoze omusango ku ekyo kyennyini, kati mukwatire ku musango ogwo, naye si kyakusharinga information. So saagala okusharinga information ebeere nga ye crime, no. Crime ebeere kusharinga information nga leeta olutalo ku nsi yaffe. Crime erina okubeera specific.
But we have people who at others, the words they speak, or captions is ebatekako. You see people posting pictures, but then the caption itself ngeragira dalanti. Okay, nge hurting this other party.
Okuhatinga ekyo si kizibu ky'amateeka, kizibu kya feeling, kizibu kyaki. Kati bw'oba oli hati kubira maama wo oyogere naye akubuddaabudde, oba mukwano gwe, like si government tukuteekamu ensimbi abajaasi, bakkooti, naffe tuveeyo bakanso nti kubanga oli hati.
No, Council, my issue is also about someone might hurt you. Okay, someone might say something. But then that person involves your family. For example, if you have children, nabo nabaleta nabateka ku social media, bonna nabazingiza, he has a problem with you, then atwaliramu your family, your relatives and everyone.
Nabazingiza mwati anti mwena muli basuru. Nebwe basuru abakolere ki? Takyogera ko era ndowooza yo mumuddemu nti ffe tuli bagezi ffe kuvadda. Ne grandfather waffe yali wagombolora. Ono yawandibala. So tulina okubeera nga tuli soba, kintu bwe kituteekamu feelings, ate ekyo ekizibu ekyo kati mulimu abantu bagenda ne bavuma first family n'enyiga ne misusinga state resources n'okubeera nti be bafuga ekintu okuteekako crimes. No, just kubanga omuntu akuvumye gwe oli munyiivu tekitegeera nti tufune etteeka oba nti amakomera gaffe gajule.
Kati nenyo nga Rogers tanaba kujja Council. So kakati oli bwanvuma muleke bulesi yagale, because this is going to happen to some other person, my children, or less otaddemu ne family yange. Okay, if you have a problem with me, mvuma ze direct, but don't involve my family.
Si mulimo gwa government okubeera nti abantu balina empisa ennungi ate nga criminal ebeera awo nga oleeta mu poliisi okukuuma empisa ku kyalo. No.
Oba oli awo lwe olimi bannaUganda lwe bawulira nti ekintu ekimu kibaawo twetaaga tuleete.
Ekkanisa ekole ki? Omusigiti gukole ki? Kirana ekole ki? Kingdom yaffe yeekole mulimo gwayo gwe guliwa. Government bw'ebeeramu ebyo eby'empisa. Amasomero gaffe gakola ki? So ekizibu ekiganye omuntu mumukuziza bubi, parenting problem mwagala kugifuula nti kizibu ky'amateeka. No, amateeka tegasobola kuba substitute for poor parenting. Omuntu olina omwana omukuziza nga kabeji olowooza amateeka ganaakuyamba. No, tulina okuteeka empisa mu baana baffe, tulina okutwala abaana baffe mu malamizo bafuneyo empisa, mu Krismasi mubatwaleyo waka boogere na bajjajja babayigirizeko ku nnono oba ki, naye nekyokulowooza nti amateeka ge ganaabayamba okuleeta empisa mu bantu baffe b'e Uganda. Ekyo ndowooza amateeka mugasuubiddemu kinene nnyo na muno ate okukwatira nnyo n'amateeka gano aga criminal law si gwe mulimu gwago. So tulina okuprotectinga property, keep law and order, that's the duty of police. Naye bw'oba otaddemu police n'ogigattako ne function eyogamba nti I be a good boy, like I greet you when I meet you on the way. Surely police etandika okwensuwalinga nti when I meet you I greet you.
That's what let me ask. In that same line, shouldn't there be prohibited conduct and permissible ones under the law?
Yeah, it should be there. And
that draw now the line
now,
someone
and that's what crime should be. It should be so clear, so specific, so that when some eteeka mbere clear that this conduct is prohibited, this conduct is not prohibited. Naye bw'okwata eteeka n'olibaga bwemala okulisoma nentategeera kikyerina okukola oba kikyerina kukola kyekizibu. Badde gamba nti akawayiro kali ambiguous n'amateeka gano ge bagenda babaga ku kalimagezi Computer Misuse Act gali ambiguous kubanga osoma eteeka nga bakozesa phrases, bakozesa oluzungu nga nagwe lawyer tosobola kutegeera nti boundary eriwa kintu kye ba prohibiting ne kye batali prohibiting. Ate omuntu wa bulijjo yakola atya? Ate eteeka lino okubeera so clear omuntu wa bulijjo n'alitegeera kubanga ye target y'eteeka lino.
Are there no exceptions to that kind of, especially like Section 25 as it was? There's, I think there was something to do with malicious information, something like that. They tried to put some...
It's on offensive communication.
Offensive communication, generally, yes. Offensive communication. Are there no... Because Lillian was asking on some permissible or prohibited conduct or Gamanti, someone can say whatever they find and it is my role as the offended to say, no, I am not stupid, I am actually smart. Are there no exceptions, for example, if what someone is saying actually is a threat to national security or something like that?
Yes, those are exceptions. If you are inciting people to war, you can't cite freedom of expression. If you are inciting people to, if you're spreading child pornography, that is prohibited. If you're encouraging terrorism or discrimination, racism, so those are the exceptions, and they are few. So the exceptions are few and minor compared to freedom of expression, and when you're doing a law, you must do it in such a manner to show that you understand that the most important thing is freedom of exception, but freedom of exception has limits. And therefore you tailor your law narrowly to accommodate those limits. But the problem we have here is they want to cast a wide net, which includes both genuine, legitimately prohibited conduct like child pornography and incitement to war, and any other annoying thing. Yeah, so as long as you widen the net of prohibition to cover mere annoyances, mere insults, mere falsehoods, Katia now obo ogenze mu uncharted territory in very murky waters, I think the law doesn't allow it.
It gives the discretion to the enforcer to pick and choose which is offensive.
Yeah, kati ekyo kyoyogera kikola kibawa discretion, encouraging arbitrary conduct. Wembanga ndi mu poliisi nenzuukuka ngamba naye kino Eron kyeyita ki? Kyeyita ki? I just charge you under that law. That's lwaki olaba nti abantu bangi abafuganya government babataddewo akawayiro ako n'abakulu bamwe wano jukira one of the offenses eri offensive communication nti bino byetulimu tuli offendinga some people and kibeera kituufu oyinza okwogera na offendinga people naye okubeera offended si musango kubanga simanyi kiki kyenaawe ku offendinga kubanga ng'enjere gye njogedde wano nyinza okulowooza njogera ebintu ebirungi naye omuntu ye wali naawulira nga ali offended kati bansibe bansibe.
But no, Council, I think the problem has been that who sets the parameter for what?
Si nyangu okusentinga bw'okiteeka mu mateeka bw'otyo nti ali nti bw'ofendinga omuntu bakusibe kati oba ogambye omupoliisi yaba asalamu ogambye omupoliisi yaba asalamu ne kkooti ate n'eteeka eryo offense is an opinion. It is individual, it is personal, it's valid. Ekikuoffendinga kisobola n'okumusanyusa kikyale. Nti one's man's meat is another man's poison.
So Council kyotegeeza abantu babaleke tebateekawo mateeka gabakugira kubaako bibuuzo.
Gavumenti ekwate ku bintu ebinene ezimba amalwaliro kambuga naye nebyogamba nti Rogers ne Luwedde anaanyiziza munne ebyo babiveemu. Mukedde wano okukola Luwedde yayise mu saaluuni akawungeezi mu kifo ky'okuwaana enviiri ze kati n'abinyiigiramu oluusi ng'omusajja yinza n'obutabitegera nti n'obutakinokisinga kati awo poliisi ezze kisajja kyogera bubi tekibuuza kireekaana so ebintu bisobola okuba nga bitunyiiza naye si bintu bya gavumenti okubeeramu tulina okufuna structures endala bagamba get other alternative means of dealing with the problem but not putting people in jail because an offense is an expensive thing to execute. You are involving the office of the DPP, Director of Public Prosecution. You are involving Uganda Police Force. You are involving courts. You are involving prosecutor. Taxpayers' money. Kyekyo kubeera nga yakwala oba at least tuzimbe kambuga abantu baffe bwe balwala bwe bafuna bu blackout ne tutapapaana okuba airliftinga tubeere nga tuba fixing omuntu endwadde omutwe ebyo gavumenti birina okukola ebyo
naye kati kakati Council don't you think nti kati tugenda kubeera ne society nga buli omu akola kyayagadde just because mu ssemateeka waliwo we bamuweera eddembe lya freedom of speech and expression and then they end up hurting other people because yalowooza anyumirwa ddembe lye naye ng'ate alina omulala gwa offending
mu bulamu abantu balina okubeera hati eyo tebeera nsi nga abantu tebali hati ate mu democratic society nakyo ekyo kirungi kubeera hati abantu balina okubeera debating and mu kudebating abantu bajja kubeera hati gwe bajja kugamba nti oli katono ono bamugambe nti mumpi ono bamugambe nti akwata mugulu kati bintu binyiiza naye sigamba nti batusibe fe ababyogedde reason better with people out reason out class them out what naye nebyogamba nti hurting is not something that we can stop using the law. It is something that we can reason over, we can what, and empisa zo ziva waka bagamba charity begins at home. Bw'omwana bw'ava waka nga charity tagirina n'obwokola teeka ki terijja kutuyamba kati libaddewo mu Uganda people not being hurt bikendedde ki nga basiba Stella Nyanzi next morning nakeera ku Facebook ate nayongeramu omunnyo
nanti kati zina amendments ze bakoze mu eriteeka
kati
at least waliwo ekikendeddemu
kati genda ku Twitter timeline yakakwenza olabe byayogera
it's because tali mu ggwanga Uganda
no bagamba nti wowo eri yonna bakusikeyo teeka lyagamba ekyo kyeggwanga bakisanya ku lwakiteba musiseyo no mu Uganda muno tetulina abavuma tebalimu mulimu ebintu etteeka lye tasobola munaasiba bameka. So waliwo taxpayers money is limited. Tulina okubeera nga tuli choose how do we spend it. Naye si bintu ebitatuyamba ebitagasa ebintu ebifamily ezisobola okwekolera. Gavumenti erina okukola bintu bino bye tuteesobolera nga ffe ng'abantu. Naye empisa.
So the debates and your argument in that case, actually, you are the counsel in that case of Andrew Kamajanda and other versus the Attorney General, which led to the annulment of Section 25 of the Computer Messages Act of 2011. The same argument was more or less the same that was in the Charles Onyango with Section 50 of the Penal Code Act and the rumors and that. Are Ugandans is that gullible as to be protected against such rules?
Very interesting. The Ugandans don't need those laws for the precise reason that they are intelligence, stereo lies from truth. And once the lies are very significant, there is a remedy still in law. We don't need crimes. We don't need crimes. So, I mean, the state should just get busy with important work of protecting us from enemies, of providing us with services. We need quality education in Uganda. We have fake education system. We have a rotten health system that cannot even cure breaking out. We have hospitals whereby the cabinet members cannot even dare step in. They have to go. Even if it is dying, they want to die in Nairobi or India or what. You get me? Our forests are going. Our people are building in wetlands. Those are things that the government should be stopping. Not people abusing each other. Honestly, abusing each other, and the government wants to spend resources on that when they cannot stop floods from cutting off roads. We have serious work at the government level.
You have the constitution that says that the government can act in public interest, which means...
What I'm telling you is that it's not in public interest for our city to be cut off. Even yesterday, people couldn't come from Bweyogere to town. It's in the public interest to have medicine in our hospitals. It's in the public interest that when my children go to school, they get a good education. Yes. It's in the public interest that the unemployed people have jobs, and those who have jobs have meaningful jobs. That's what governments do for their people. It's important that there is money in the economy so that people have where to get credit from to invest. We need to talk about macro issues to stabilize the economy, our health system, social services, security, and so on and so forth, and the government should focus on that. But this idea of government policing our thoughts, our opinions, is a kick, is unnecessary, and it's a wrong strategy for government.
So in simple terms, eteeka tetulyetaaga balijje nawo.
It is the most useless piece of legislation, the Computer Misuse Act, the most useless piece of legislation. It's unnecessary. We should just disband it in its entirety.
But I believe wayinza okubaawo something good.
We have other laws that can handle the good that might come from it. We are not short of laws. And in fact, Uganda's problem is not legal. It's political, it's governance. If you govern well, you don't need most of these laws. So the thinking that you need a law to solve every problem is mistaken. What we need are efficient services from government. We need democracy, we need human rights, we need human dignity, we need food, we need good roads, we need clean water, we need the forests that are left alone so that we can look at them, they can give us oxygen, they can modify our climate, they give us rain. These things are distractions. We shouldn't even be discussing them. We should be discussing climate change. We should be discussing sustainable development. We should be discussing how to go into the space. Uganda, beyond the propaganda, how actually to go to the space and do discoveries there. We should be discussing harnessing our talents as creatives, as writers, as musicians, and taking over the global stage. How we can create a Hollywood here. How we can create a Disney World here. How we can, those kinds of things. But not and in that kind of environment, people will annoy each other, compete with each other, and develop. Even annoying each other and hurting each other is acceptable environment, and it's necessary for people to compete with each other and develop, and the society is better off with it rather than trying to fight it.
There's, in regard to this whole discussion and law, we have the Article 43. I wanted you to kind of make us understand. I think there are some people that might be kind of left out. 43 2C specifically, on 2 is about public interest under this article and shall not permit. The C says, any limitation of the enjoyment of the rights and freedoms prohibited by this chapter beyond what is acceptable and demonstrably justifiable in a free and democratic society. I want you to make us understand what exactly that provision means.
So there is a legal notion that human rights have limits.
Yes.
Now what that section or that clause says is that even the limits have limits. You cannot ride on the fact that there are limits, human rights. For example, in enjoying rights, you should not hurt the rights of others. Yeah, and the limitations on limitations, because the limitations, human rights include a criminal offense against incitement to violence. Yeah, you are not supposed to murder people. You're not supposed to torture people. You're not supposed to exercising your rights. But the people are saying that in limiting those human rights, you also have limits. You cannot put up a law that is all-catching. If you're going to put on a law, it should be narrowly tailored to only limit the rights in a very limited way. Focused prevention, slavery, human dignity, stopping torture, stopping insecurity and so on. It should be limited. So it is that one is just a standard of limitations. It's called the limitation on limitations. Okay. Yeah. So it is a guide on how you can go about limiting human rights without destroying a democracy, without destroying a free society.
Okay. And that case that you had that was judged just recently is kind of in the same space as the one you just also put, I think, in September of last year, where I think you were the one who was representing some of the parties, where we had a number of organizations, civil society, NGOs, and the leader of opposition, Unichiza, challenging the new amendment now. And some of those was that the reasons for that regulation was to regulate social media generally. And in that regulation, if I am going by your argument in the other case, it is your issue was that the provisions of Section 25 particularly were overly ambiguous and undefined, which was unfair to a lot of people, because a lot of people can be bundled up together, even those who are not supposed to be illegally using it. Is it to the effect that you do not want the social media to be regulated, or to the laws to be specific as to what?
What those laws do is basically prohibit social media in summary. They don't want you to be on social media if they are to be strictly enforced, and that is a problem. Because when we say they are ambiguous, the problem is that people doing good work, like government critics, like people who are making fun of Varyomonsi's ordeal, are likely to be, they can use this law to lock them up. So should the law serve that purpose of locking up people who are making fun of Kambuga Hospital and the rotten health system? I mean, you saw the clips of, I think it was Diana, making front calls to that he be So the people sharing that kind of critical governance information, should they be imprisoned? And of course, no one, I shared it and solicited, I received it and solicited. So I and the one who gave it to me are candidates under this nonsensical amendment for incarceration, for detention. So it is very prone to abuse, and indeed it will be abused, and you wait for 2026 if court will not have helped us and annul it, and you'll see it. You'll see it. Little wonder that people who have suffered these laws are government critics. Yes, government critics. Maybe, yeah, some are exiled, others are here, but talk about anyone who has been charged with this law and you find that they are, except maybe Bekwabere Farida. I think she was Korato. She is associating with the wrong people. Yes. I think she's the only non-government critic that I've seen. But also her company, the company she's keeping, she needs to find new friends if she's going to avoid. Yes, she's the only one that I've seen on that charge who is not a government critic.
So, Councillor, in general, we do not need the computer misuse?
No. We don't need the original one. Even the amendment is worse. And to be sure, the amendment, the Nsereko law, is completely unnecessary, and it's prone to abuse. And indeed, as the Mho's project rolls on, as we come to 2026, you wait for us. I mean, government will be busy, police will be busy, locking up everyone who says things they don't want and has some kind of influence. They will block them up because of this. So we hope court can annul it much faster than it took to annul this one.
Now, Council, what are you going to do? Because a good thing you're in the judicial system, this side of the law, that enforce, I mean,
yeah, we are going to try to fast track it to the best we can do, and there is what we can do, there is what we cannot do. We shall do what we can to ensure that this law is really annulled before 2026. Yeah, if we fail, you will know. If we succeed, you will know.
Except there is also a judicial system that usually goes on the other side of the enforcers.
For us, we are governed, we are powered by hope, and we are optimists. If we were not optimistic, we wouldn't be in this country or would be dead. You need hope to keep alive, to keep doing the things you do. Yeah, let's be hopeful.
Before we continue with the discussion about the Computer Misuse Act, there are questions here. Someone is asking, Patricia asks, my question is, how should the government regulate the spread of false information and blackmail in this digital era?
How should government?
How should government regulate the spread of false information and blackmail in this digital era?
That is already, if falsehood results in harm, that harm can be remedied judicially. The government doesn't need to regulate falsehood. I can understand blackmail, but falsehood, it is a natural condition. Why should government should not turn us into robots. If they are human beings, at some point they will tell lies. The problem is, what is the impact of those lies? That's where government needs to come in. If the lies are so profound that you are mentally tortured, there is a law for that, for mental torture. If there is mental anguish you have suffered, you can get the damages in a court of law, in a civil suit. So there is no need for regulation, because the law affords remedies to those situations that what is her name? She's talking about. Patricia is talking about.
She also asks, and another question. We heard Digitalk members were charged under the Computer Misuse Act for disturbing the peace of the person of the president. Does this ruling make them innocent? And if yes, who should pay for the damages?
Very interesting. But there are two counts, as far as I remember, and one of them is offensive communication. That one goes. But if you have other offenses, they don't go because of this judgment. It is very specific. So the charge of offensive communication
cyber stalking
will be dropped. But the one of cyber stalking has not yet been dealt away by the Constitutional Court. We hope it does. And
but Council, still kuzino comments, Muchalo Nozatadeo. This is going to give go-ahead to journalists abaina bias who state or publishing information.
It is okay for a journalist to be biased. I don't know. These are human conditions. Like in the US, for example, you know that this is a Republican, even TV, even newspaper. You know that this is like FDC should have a newsletter, and you shouldn't tell the journalist working for it, or even a media house, if they could afford, you shouldn't tell a journalist to start praising government. No, that is to criticize it and praise their own politicians.
Okay.
Yeah, so you can't say that because, and that is bias. So they are biased in favor of FDC, they are biased against government. And FDC exists to discredit government. That's not a crime. That's not a crime. And if journalists want, of course, journalists should do, they have ethics and they are self-regulated. There is a body to regulate the standards of journalism. There are standards clearly, but it's not something that should be criminalized. It is something that should be left to the professional body to regulate standards of journalism, but not start telling journalists what to write, how to,
Okay, so now offensive communication was nullified.
Yes.
So what next? I mean, what is going to happen next?
What's going to happen next? What do you want to happen? People should continue to speak freely, including offending each other through speech. Real speech is going to be boring if we don't have some people being offended.
If we have no criticism.
There is some whole genre in literature called satire. If you're satirized, you are going to be offended.
Yeah.
You get me?
That is true. That is absolutely true.
A big part of fiction is basically to offend some people. And that is how society develops, and that is entertainment. People get entertained by having their big people laughed at, ridiculed. Yes, hurting, it's okay. Be happy, you will recover.
By blackmailing others, that is entertainment.
Blackmail is different. If you are going to, what do you mean? Blackmail, now we have to be a bit pointed when we just throw it around at blackmailing others. But surely making fun of you, of your stomach, of your nose, it will hurt you, but it's not a problem for policemen and prosecutors. Yeah, it is for you to accept that God created you in His image and your God looks like that. And you should be contented.
So Council yagala tubeere mu society abantu abatalina mpisa we balekebwa okukola kyonna kye baagala just because temwagala bateekewo mateeka gajja ba offending gajja balemesa okweyagala nga ssemateeka bw'abawedde.
Amateeka tugeetaaga limits mu life zibeerawo neteeka ne bweba nga teririyo bwe exceedinga limits waliwo ekigenda kusiba naye si kuteeka kweteeka nga litaninga abantu from human beings to robots. Nelibafuura deadwood nelibafuura nga
but wawadotandika wagambye omuntu bwapostinga ennimiro ye that is also okay. Omuntu bwapostinga information eri true nawo tewaba buzibu. So why does kiki ekireetera omuntu ono okupostinga false information nga naye kennyini akimanyi it's false information taginaako omutwe n'amagulu and it's hurting some other person.
What's the difference between false information and a joke?
Joke eryoke nga kituufu
naye
false information
kati oli mu poliisi, how are you going to distinguish jokes? What about exaggeration? These are just literary devices. Hyperbole. You want people to be incarcerated because of hyperbole.
There was a gentleman yabeeranga live on Facebook sometime back yavayonaga President Museveni afudde. Nagamba yafadda naye kati president
there are many ways of dying. In our culture, they say that ogakafa bwemi. The man might have been saying that the guy is living dead while or what. So now if someone is, that's what he's saying. When I mean that actually he's dead as president, he's dead as, maybe there is a part of him that is dead, but I don't want to come out and say it. These are dicey issues. It's not for a policeman now to determine for me if Eron says Museveni is dead, what does it mean? That's a very delicate area. You don't want the law to go there. Yeah, but why should they get me? Why do you want police to get involved in this? This is my opinion.
I think the whole issue is people, I don't know if it's the states or people have not understood that those issues are actually civil. You can sue someone if they are trying to make a joke and it does not,
but even, yes,
I can sue you in a
and even in the civil, you have to prove that this might have been a joke, but it was too much. Yeah. You get me? Yes. So
at least people there have some.
They are civil remedies. If your jokes makes my business crumble, and I can connect clearly that it is a result of your jokes, that I have lost.
Or it can damage my reputation.
Yes. Then the civil courts can do that. But most jokes, most lies don't reach that realm. And the problem with her approach is that we are going to involve the state in stopping many jokes, many exaggerations, many indecent talk, just because we are fearing for a few problematic incidents.
Okay, so I think that has been cleared. You can abuse each other as long as you can prove that you have suffered from the abuse. But in a civil court, not in a criminal.
When someone is hurt emotionally.
Yeah, prove that you have been emotionally hurt.
No, they are psychologists. If you have PSTD, for example, we can, and it can be connected to what I said or did, that can be proved by, they are professionals in that area.
But it's also quite far-fetched. There are things that are hard to prove in those areas. Because you could be suffering a lot of things at a time.
Yes, and it's important for court to determine that indeed, for even you are not telling lies, because you can allege that you are being traumatized by what he said, yet it's not true.
So the police should also say that what you're saying is not true and it is criminal.
No, we don't want police to be the arbiters of truth.
Waliwo abantu adde bapostinga abantu abali minor mwana omuto ne bamuteeka ku social media ne bamuteeka eno n'eri mu bintu oluusi ebitali birungi. So this law eyambako
children, there is a children law for that. There is a children act for that. Abana balina special protection under the law, and the law is there. It's not computer law. It's not computer law.
So you have also established that we do not need regulation on social media.
Generally speaking, we don't need regulation of social media in a way that these guys are going about it.
In which way should we regulate the social media then?
There is already the Uganda Communications Act.
That kind of mostly regulates like the mainstream. Social media has largely been left to go untouched.
It's not that it's untouched. Social media is part of life. If you commit a crime using social media, then it's a crime.
That's the thing. They're trying to make crimes.
No, there are laws. We already have crimes. We already have crimes. We don't need a crime, that a law that turns social media itself into a crime. That's what we are trying to fight. There are crimes. Crimes should be crimes, whether they are committed on social media or off social media. But to have this class of crimes that only target social media is basically to put social media in jeopardy and it almost make it look like it's illegal. There is a sustained war on social media in Uganda. Right now, officially, government has closed Facebook.
For now.
And I think President Museveni himself doesn't use Facebook, although the rest of his cabinet uses Facebook illegally in defiance of him.
of himself, his own ministers even. Now, the last time we had you here, we talked about, anyway, before we even go there, let's first see the case that you put lastly. This one, the very recent one, not the one that was judged. The very recent one. What were your prayers? Do you want also these all sections to be put away?
Yeah. The same prayer, we want them annulled because they don't meet the legal standards. Yeah. Okay. They are all ambiguous. They are all too much to say, because what they pretend to do, there are other laws to do it. So we don't need them. They are unnecessary.
They are only criminalized.
Yeah, and what they are trying to do is basically to limit our freedom of expression, and they are not necessary in democratic society. Yeah.
Good. I think it is high time we have kind of exhausted that topic. We are going to quite move on from that. And I am going to ask exactly about the last time you were here, which we hosted you, I think the same two people. We were talking about the ECOP, East African Crude Oil Pipeline. And you were saying we do not need the oil. The government was saying we need the money, so it is important that we have the oil extracted. We want to know the progress, how far are you?
For me, it's not so much the opposition to the oil as it is my defense of the climate. The most important resource we have is our climate, is our earth, is our health. When those are injured, you can have all the money in the world, but it is going to be useless. The most important investment we can make is in the lives of our people, our health. But if we are told that fossil fuels are polluting the air, that they are causing cancer, that they are causing birth complications, that they are causing blood complications, and no less than the World Health Organization is telling you, no less than 1,000 doctors who have signed telling stop, put an end to any new fossil fuel project. No less than the International Energy Agency, which has told you that there is no room if we are going to avoid climatic disaster. So climatic disaster is coming. We're already having a climate emergency, and Uganda is one of those countries which are least equipped to deal with it, because it is poor, it is badly governed, it can't handle climate emergency, because it can't even handle a breaking out emergency of one of its ministers. It can't handle a mudslide in Bududa, in Kasese. It can't handle floods. We can't even have a road operating in a small drizzle. And are we going to handle a climate emergency?
That's a natural occurrence, someone would say.
Yeah, ignorance can lead you to that prescription, but the science is very clear. They have to read. It's not a natural occurrence. Climate change has worsened what you call natural occurrence. Yes. And we are here, government can't stop people from building in wetlands. So government is Uganda is a very weak, vulnerable state to climate change, and wants to do things that worsen its situation. You are in a glass house and you want to start throwing stones. That's what you're trying to do. And we are saying, don't throw stones, you're in a glass house. And you're saying, no, if I throw stones, I'll get money. We are saying, please, that money will not help you.
So
you will freeze once the glass breaks.
So kanso tutunulire butonde bwansi bwe tuba tukulembeza oba
bwe businga tewali nkulaakulana ng'emenya butonde bw'ensi tebaawo, naye ate tuli mu emergency, naye tweyisa nga bali mu kintu kya bulijjo. Bw'obeera emergency okyusa enneeyisayo. Enkuba bw'etandika okutonya ng'okwata umbrella. Naye ffe enkuba eze ate ne umbrella tugikasuka ku bbali. So tulimu n'ebi oil. Ebintu economy ya oil yaliwo dda yagwawo, abantu bakyuse, tugenda mu bintu birala. Esente ziri mu butonde naye zinoonye mu musana, in the sun, solar. zinonye mu hydro. You can power your economy using hydropower, using wind, and we need these forests even to make money from climate change money. We need to explore those opportunities of leveraging our natural resources, leveraging our tourism to make money, and it would give us more money than even the oil in the ground. The science says keep those fossil fuels in the ground, whether it's oil, natural gas, or coal, and that is for the entire world. We have to stop it. But for us, we have to fight for climate change more because we have no way of stopping the climatic disaster that's coming.
But the rest of the world has kind of developed to where it is today on the back of oil exploration.
That window is over. You can't replicate what the developed world did. Sorry, you were late. Yeah. But you want to copy a neighbor in the village who has a car. It rains and has a four-wheel. You have either you're on foot or on a bicycle or on a Viz.
But I want to get to where they are.
So you want to get killed in trying to call to someone can fly.
Are you guys trying to say that the effects we have now today are not there?
Let me tell you. Once climate disaster strikes, America will be better equipped to deal with it. Not that they will deal with it effectively, but at least they will suffer less. So if America loses 1,000 people, we lose like 1 million here. Why? Because they are better. They are scientifically more advanced. They have more money. They can do more things to fight nature, to try to fight nature. Here we can't even fight the basic things.
They are fighting Ebola. Ebola.
Awo bigambo bimbuzo.
Twagenze byafaayo twawangudde Ebola mu bbanga ttono nnyo, so that means nature bwe kinaaba kize.
Climate emergency teringa Ebola. Ate mulimu ebintu bye bayita irreversible tipping points nga it has come, it's not going to be reversed. So Ebola ejja n'ofuna vaccine n'okola bwakasimbi n'okola bitu naye climate emergency is a different thing. It's not your usual game, and you can see it from the way we are failing to handle even these what he wrongly calls as there's nothing natural about the flooding in Kasese. Once you strip nature of trees, you denude nature, you cut down forests, those are things that just happen and happen with more intensity. Yeah. So it's okay for rain to come, but it's not okay for storms to keep hitting us, for mudslides to keep being frequent and more intense. That's not okay, and there's nothing natural about it.
So EU Parliament bavayo ne raising concerns still kwenye ensonga ya mafuta, ensonga ya climate n'ensonga ya human rights, but later on ne babanga batuwadde go ahead okweyongerayo n'okusima amafuta. So mwenga abalwanirizi b'eddembe ly'obuntu, then what next? Because kati kino bano bagenda maaso
lwaki olinda EU ekugambe kya human rights oba go ahead? Human rights for Ugandans, respect them. Why are you waiting for an MP in Europe to respect the rights of people in Chikube, in Kabale, along the road? Just respect people's rights. Don't grab people's property. First, compensate them, give them adequate compensation, and that's not something I'm just saying. It's the law. So human rights are very important. They should be respected by those engaged in extractive activities. They shouldn't wait for anyone to tell them to respect the rights, and no one should tell them not to respect the rights. So you can't just go ahead and behave with impunity just because someone has given you a go-ahead, which I doubt. I don't think EU has given anyone a go-ahead to violate people's rights, no.
Not the violations.
Not the violations, but okugenda maaso ne project y'okusima amafuta.
But the project is what has created the violations that are there.
Yes, now the project shouldn't go ahead in a way that violates people's rights. If the project is to go ahead, it should at least, as a minimum, respect people's rights. But for me, I see that the project is a disaster itself for reasons I've already given.
And we have Patricia Mongos asking, I think, the same thing. And the last time we had the council here, it was about have they registered any success in their pursuit to protect the environment? Have you registered any success?
We have increased the awareness about this issue. This was a fringe issue just 2 years ago. Right now, it's becoming a fair mainstream issue. We continue to educate people about the dangers of oil extraction, about the dangers of destroying ecosystems, biodiversity hotspots, and for us, that is some kind of success. And also, we have made some people more accountable in terms of clarifying the human rights obligations to Total and the government bodies that are supporting that ecosystem of extraction. So there are some successes, but they are mild. But it is not for us to succeed or fail. We succeed and fail together. If climate system fails, we are all victims. This is not something we can afford to be divided upon. Our health is for all of us. Our climate, as they say, there is no planet B. We burn planet Earth, we become another civilization that was once there, and they like the dinosaurs, they are not here. I don't know what kind of things will be here if we destroy planet Earth, but they will be learning from our mistakes.
I hope we do. I hope we do, because we don't seem to have extinction of...
I hope we succeed. I hope, but you can't rule it out if we continue on an unsustainable path we are taking as human beings.
Now, part of registering, talking of successes, we also have a government that has seemed to have a big head. And the president has said, my oil is going to have to happen by hook or crook. Do you have any other means you intend to employ to make sure that you register those demands that you have made clear?
I mean, the man is Museveni. He's saying his oil, which is a lie. And if the Computer Misuse Act was working, I think those on lies, the way she wants it to work, I think would be the first victim of it. You should, but of course, yes. So it's not his oil, but that is the wrong mentality, and that's the governance problem. If you have a leader looking at the oil of a nation and he thinks it is his, he sees that the taxpayers' money, calls it my money. He sees guns purchased by Uganda, calls it my guns, my soldiers. It's a family rule problem. It's bad governance. It's dictatorship. And those are not the ideal conditions for development. Even the little money that comes, if it comes, you will not see it. You will not see it. It will also go to Congo to get into an adventurous military exercise. It could be used for adventurism in southern Sudan, or to just stuff to fill their pockets. So even if oil came and what, this money, just to do your things and see how to live. Don't start thinking about oil. And then also it was very clear. The time we went to Mass, and they said that, all of you, oil, no. And he was right, because you can't see the money, even if it comes. And already, I hear they are taking debts on a premise of oil, which we may never see. This thing of hinging the entire planning of the country on oil is unwise, is unnecessary, and it is a boomerang for disaster. Yes.
I wanted to get you to understand if you have any other means to making sure that what you're advocating for happens.
No.
Because part of what you have done is the sensitization which has happened, and it does not achieve so many results. I wanted to understand if you have...
What do you want? You want me to beat Museveni?
No, not necessarily.
Yes.
You could probably sue or do something.
We have sued, we have advocated. What have I done? Not done. Unless you want me to get him and beat him up. But I can't access him. They can't even allow me. Because the guy is the problem. He thinks our oil is his oil. And because he thinks it is his oil, you will not touch the proceeds that come from that oil. He has told you. It is his oil.
Okay.
So what are you even excited about? So let's have forests that we can really call ours. Let's have national parks that we can really call ours. Let's have land that is really ours. And but not support this man on his adventure of oil, that I'm an oil sheikh. He's speaking like a child, very excited. Does he even become, why does he want to become an oil sheikh, really, of all things? So, that's where we are.
Kanso byonna mubikoze musuubinze musensitizinze abantu batamafuta
gye tulina okukola kati mwife tetuli bajasi ffe tuli balooya tusome ebitabo ne twogera oluzungu ne tuwandiika kye tulina okukola bannange
so kati tubiveeko buvi twekuba
no buli omu akole kyasobola nze kyenkugamba
because abakozeeko era bakozeeko
no to giving up on day one bannange lwana Mandela yalwana obulamu bwe bwenna genda mu maaso
tulwana project egenda mu maaso
genda mu maaso nawe olwane kati bw'osirika n'ozikiza ate project ng'egenda mu maaso era bw'olaba nti project egenda mu maaso kirina okukaka yongeramu amaanyi olwane lemera ku kyoliko tugende mu maaso nga tulwana.
Okay. Nza tunatera okuba nga tuwunzika program yaffe ey'olunaku olwaleero ebulayo eddakiika ziringa 12 zokka ate tubeere nga tugiwunzikira ddala. So before we conclude, and Roger, do you have any more questions?
No.
Still on human rights or?
I think Council has exhausted them respectfully. I think he has put both sides to order. For purposes of people understanding, it is important to go to every corridor to make sure that every other side is exhausted.
Someone in my inbox angambye mbu cancer ali just biased n'etteeka ddyo ayagala bamugambyeko.
No, we are ready for debate, for discussion. Nga njagala njogere byenjagala tebangambye. Lwaki ayagala bangambeko mubuuze. Lwaki tayagala njogere byenjagala. Lwaki nina eddembe lyange lwaki kimuluma. It's okay. I don't see a problem with that. I should speak what I want. Naye twayogedde nti mulimu break eri tojja kulaba nga spreading child pornography bannange. Ebyo si birimu. Sijja kukuma mu muliro nti invading Uganda. I'm not going inside the war. You get me? So I don't do crimes. I just want freedom to speak and I know my limits. I'm not going to say that they should do discrimination here. Because like you with your pointed nose, you should not cross Katonga. No. I'm not going to use...
But that is what abantu bamukyabadde bakola ku social media.
That is a crime. You don't need social media law. It's already a crime in our statute books. You charge them. You get?
Anti kyova tulinawo etteeka nga lino.
Amateeka already wegali agabasiba bagasa tetwetaaga lino. That is not the intention of this social media law. It is just to silence even us who are making good points or just critical. Naye the law for crimes, if someone has assaulted you and what, the laws are there.
Naye gayinza okuba tegagadde tegakola nnyo kyova twetaaga lino kakati
gabadde gakola naye ekizibu kyaffe abamenyi b'amateeka tetubawa budde obumala twe tuli mu byabufuzi twagala kulaba Bobi Wine ayogedde ki Besigye ayogedde ki olaba Besigye bw'omukyaza wano baba mubeerako nga bawuliriza buli kimu kyayogedde ne bateepinga ne babitwala ku bakama baabwe n'akolamu ensobi owulira baliko instead of crime kati wali olaba ekyetaagisa poliisi n'ejja mangu naye bagambye nti Besigye atuuse nakasero owulire
naye tolowooza nti Kanso mubiteekamu nnyo ensonga za politics amateeka agagana agaba
no biri mu politics tetubiteekamu biva mu parliament
anti temutunulira the other good side of these laws eziba amateeka agabagibwa mutunulirako the other side of it has offended me linemeseza okweyagala linemeseza okukola ki
tolaba intention y'etteeka ne effect woto assessing amateeka intention and effect. So is the intention good? The intention of this law is not good. It is to make opposition keep quiet and critical people. Then what is the effect? Again, the effect is that it will be misused because it is too wide, it's ambiguous. So police ngatakwagadde ngakusiba.
How about petitioning the whole computer issues? And not just the sections and the amendments?
No. The problem wowo attacking eteeka attacking sections kubanga sections zezulumiriza abantu. Zezulumiriza abantu ng'eteeka lino eripya birimu social media abuse. Kintu ng'ekyo social media abuse. Even the title itself, you can see there is danger in the title, social media abuse. So very unsolicited information. So to cover police beating up Rukwagwa, you need the permission of the police. Ekyo kikola.
I agree.
Naye waliwo ewamu eweetaagisa mu events ezimu nga kyetaagisa okusooka okusaba olukusa nga tonateeka information
naye nze nkuwadde example yange eteeka word framing in such a way nti sisobola kukola advocacy, sisobola kuwhistleblowinga, sisobola kufightinga corruption. Eriyo teeka effect yaalyo eba erisuula.
Yeah, that's right. Patricia Monga says, Happy New Year, Team Digitalk. Thank you, Patricia, for being with us. Happy New Year to you too. Greetings and kudos to Council for the wonderful work. Patricia Monga is a big fan, I think, on top of Teddy. They are two now.
Greetings.
And so she says, in general, Council is saying we should write whatever on whoever, whether true or false.
I mean, me have said what I said, and that statement is largely true, except you shouldn't do pornography, you shouldn't incite violence, you shouldn't incite what? Hatred and discrimination. Yeah.
The rest you can do.
Yeah, the rest you should be able to do. I don't want people to stop exaggerating, for example.
Okay.
I don't want people to stop comedy. I don't want people to stop doing cartoons.
And criticism.
And criticism, no. We should continue with that because without them there is no life, there is no democracy, there is even no development, and certainly there is no peace.
Okay, yeah. Council, your closing remarks.
My closing remarks is that I wish this team here, the staff and the audience, a really prosperous 2023, and I hope in the coming months we shall have more freedom to speak, and I hope that you people remain courageous and you report about, you give voice to the vulnerable people, you give voice to real burning issues of the country, and you shouldn't be intimidated. And our viewers should continue in a robust debate. We discuss these things, we agree, we disagree, but none of us should end up in prison just because we disagree or because we are offended with some speeches or not. No, we should have, we need a democratic society. It is that kind of society that we shall live in happily, and it's in that kind of society that development is possible.
Okay. So kubanga nyongerezaako ekigambo kyonna ku ebyo Council Eron byayogedde, twogedde ebintu bingi nnyo ku nsonga z'amateeka, so kansuubira ofunyemu ekyokuyiga. Mwebale nnyo mwenna abatugoberedde okuva ku ntandikwa ate paka wano tugenda okubanga tuwunzikira programu yaffe ey'olunaku olwaleero. Nze Omumbejja Luwedde Lilian, era nga neebaza ttiimu yonna gye tukoze nayo okulaba nga tukola programu eno gwe nga bw'osobodde okubanga ogiraba. Munnange ku kamera kubaddeko omukyala Teddy Tenjo, so nga ate mu control room waliyo omwami Katoto Musiime ne omwami Mokose Arnold Anthony. Bwe tukoze okuba nti programu eno tugikutuusaako nga gwe wasobodde okuba nga ogiraba. Njagala akazindaalo oba akamansukiira nkaweereze munnange Rogers tuli ahabwe ate naye asiibule abatulabye.
Wandibadde osiibudde gwe mumbejja. But thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. I thank you for being with us today. My name again is Rogers Turiawa, and it has been a privilege to be here with Council. Ngatu taputiramu, that is Uganda, I think. Ngatu taputiramu amateeka. Yeah, for us to understand what are the things, what are the practices we need to keep, what are those we cannot go with, because I think it's important for the growth of community that people agree and disagree. I think he made that clear. But competition is also important. But if someone says something in competition and you say, I have been offended and therefore they deserve to be in Rosetta, I think that is also problematic to our collective growth. So thank you so much for being with us. I hope you've learned a thing or two. I have myself, and that is the sole reason why we come here every single morning, to make sure that you understand, you learn new things, we learn from you, but you also learn from us and from people who are informed in particular issues. That is it from us. Have yourselves a very good morning.
The Alternative Digitalk. Real issues, real talk.